According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 6.4 million students between the ages of 4 and 17 have been diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Attention deficit hyperactive disorder, better known as ADHD, is a chronic condition, including attention difficulty, hyperactivity, and impulsiveness. It is uncurable, but can be assisted with treatment. This case study is based off observations in a classroom. Symptoms of ADHD within a classroom include noisy students, difficult students, and low-achieving students. There is no definite answer to ADHD, but when attempting to solve the issue, you must consider each child's learning and motivational skills, progressional issues, and student issues and needs. Each study brings new questions but never definite answers. The best way to help each child is based solely on the child, his or herself, and how each child can assist and benefit the children posed with ADHD. In this specific case study, a young student by the name of Gabe was struggling in his class. According to Case Study 5, ADHD, Gabe Silva, Part 1, Gabe was very lively. He was outgoing and talkative with all of the other students. He thrived to create an audience to listen to him, and when recess time came, he was very energetic and in control of the playground. I guess you could call him the king of the playground. Gabe organized all of the team games and excelled at them greatly. He was the first child on the playground and the last child off. His teacher would watch him and wonder where all this energy came from and how exactly she was going to contain all of this in her classroom. Gabe's reading and math skills were at his grade level, but his grades were low due to the fact that he never turned in his homework. He seemed willing to learn, but was constantly distracted by other things. When Susan would give him classwork to do, he always seemed to be up doing other things that kept him from doing his work, such as sharpening his pencil, talking to other students, or rummaging through his desk. He seemed to start doing his work and complete a minimal amount of it, but never seemed to finish it, and could never find it to turn it in. Susan believed his grades could improve with some organization. When Miss Susan would go through his things, she would find old assignments, way past due, crumbled, and ripped in his desk and his backpack. One day, Gabe was talking to everybody in sight, so Miss Susan moved him to the back of the classroom in an attempt to help him. Even then, she still noticed that Gabe was flagging kids to the back of the room to start conversation with them. She noticed that Gabe's constant energy was rubbing off on the other students, making her entire class wild and rambunctious. Susan had a talk one day with Gabe after class to see if he understood the class rules, and when he replied yes, she curiously asked why he didn't follow them, why he didn't do his homework, and why he never stayed in his seat. He looked sad and upset and told her that he wanted to follow the rules and he wanted to learn so that he would try better tomorrow. Susan spoke with the school special ed teacher, and the special ed teacher asked Susan to observe Gabe and collect data on his basic educational skills. Susan brought Gabe books that he would like, and he ended up not even reading them, but creating his own story with the images. From this, she learned that Gabe was very creative and could read at almost his own grade level. He was extremely smart. She began using different techniques such as flashcards to help Gabe understand the content. She found praising Gabe for his accomplishments helped. In article Case Study 5, ADHD, Gabe Silva Part 2, the special ed teacher began observing Gabe and completed running records of all his activity. She kept up with the amount of times he left his seat, every time he began talking to another student, and kept a timer on how long it took him to get distracted from his work. With this information, the special ed teacher suggested that they have a meeting with his parents. Susan prepared his grades, samples of his assignments, and a short list of concerns. The Silvas agreed to meet with them. They were very interested in Gabe doing well in school. The special ed teacher asked the Silvas if Gabe had brought home his homework to do, and if he did, where did he do it at? Gabe's mom replied, sometimes he would, and if he did, he would do it in the kitchen. Miss Susan suggested an assignment notebook, which would be needed to be signed and returned every day. and that he needed a quiet place to do his homework. Miss Silva said she tried to help him by having him complete a certain amount of problems, taking a break, and then going back to them later. Miss Silva explained that Gabe was very good at sports and that he always needed to stay busy. She once told a story about Gabe who had taken apart an entire lawnmower motor. Miss Susan suggested that Gabe be tested for ADHD so that he could qualify for extra help. When his parents first heard this, they didn't really like the idea of their son being on medication or being treated differently, but this is what Gabe needed to be helped for him. If he were to qualify, he would get extra help. There would be methods to help just for him. Research shows that most children did better with a combination of adaptive classroom strategies along with the medicine. They had hoped that these accommodations would help Gabe keep up with the other students. There are no exact ways to assist ADHD students. They are all different. You must work with each individual to see what helps them best for themselves. You can't compare them, oh, well, this works with this student, so it should work with this one. You have to work with each individual student to see what helps them.